Spiritual.org to see what's going on. Okay, so welcome everybody to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Sorry for the delay. We're having some difficulties. And even after getting onto my Facebook, there's still some challenges over here. I don't see anybody's names coming up, or I won't be able to see anybody's questions. I don't know why that's happening, but we will investigate this all. Firstly, a great thank you to everyone that participated in our campaign that finished last night. Was an extraordinary, beyond Hashem's blessings, of great success. And so I thank you all for those that participated. Thank you, and for all those well wishes, and for those that couldn't participate. God willing, you will be able to one day. Yes, so thank you. So from such a great success, here we come to a challenge of being able to have the today's teachings online properly. All right. Mm-hmm. Well, let us conclude today chapter 10, speaking about a tzaddik, a righteous individual, an individual who not only has impeccable behavior of thought, speech, and action, but an individual that has such control over the inner workings of their being, of their emotional disposition. So, I think you've heard this from me before, but I enjoy chocolate. In my inner heart, there is a desire that I have, that I like it. A complete tzaddik doesn't have that in their heart anywhere. Not a trace of it. But they like chocolate. Now, maybe they like chocolate to give it to somebody else, as a show of kindness and a mitzvah, but not to eat chocolate. Not to eat chocolate. Nope. It just doesn't exist by the complete tzaddik. Therefore, they're called Bnei Aliyah, as the Rashbi, Rav Shimon bar Yochai in the Zohar tells us. Men of ascent, a great spiritual stature. So, yesterday we gave an explanation of this idea of Bnei Aliyah, meaning individuals of ascent, great ascent. What does it mean, great ascent? It means that they took the animal soul within them. They took any urges that are in the inner heart, and they transformed it. There is no urge for chocolate. There is no desire for anything that is not godly, that doesn't connect to God. That's why this idea of a righteous person is eons beyond us. And as we will learn, not everybody has even the capacity to get there. And that for the most part, who you think is righteous is most likely not. And as we banty that word around, oh, you're such a tzaddik, tzaddik you are, right? So that's what we learned yesterday about Bnei Aliyah, that they are able to transform the the negativity into something unbelievable. And today, the Alter Rebbe says another reason why they're called Bnei Aliyah, men of ascent. And the reason is that they are not even spiritual junkies. What does that mean, a spiritual junkie? What's a spiritual junkie? Spiritual junkie is someone who has a thirst for godliness, a thirst to connect to God. They have the desire, the pleasure of cleaving and connecting to God. They don't even have that. What is that? We'll explain a little more what that means. There's only one desire they have, is to unite with God, His Shekhinah, divine presence, for God's sake, for His sake. And what's His sake? That His presence should be felt down here in this world, in this lowest world. That's all. Nothing to do about even their spiritual attachment to God. It's all about God being present in this world. That's quite phenomenal. And then it's a very short class. In the conclusion, he says that both ideas of transforming the animal soul to and having it ascend, and from being bitter to becoming sweet, and doing it for the sake of God. And what's the sake of God? That His presence should be felt in the lowest of worlds here. That you are mischasedim kainai, that you're doing a kindness, being pious. What's pious? What are you being pious? That you're doing it for God, for His presence, towards His nest, meaning His source should be drawn down into this world, and He should be present, real, comfortable in this world. So those two ideas come together. In other words, the negative side is transforming the negative to something positive, from bitterness to sweetness. And from that is, the flip side of that is, what's the sweetness? Not sweetness that you're seeking your connection to God. The sweetness of bringing God connected to the world. Very powerful. Very powerful. Let's unpack this a bit. So this is, just to kind of personalize it, what it really means is no agenda, no personal agenda. The inyan is what's negeya, as we say in Hebrew. The inyan, meaning the cause, the matter, the issue at hand, is what's important. It had nothing to do with about me. What does that mean? It has nothing. Well, I'm just here to fulfill what I'm needed for, and this issue, this matter, this thing that's going on, whatever that is. So even, it can be spiritual junkie is, what's a spiritual junkie? Someone who gets off on spirituality, gets off on connecting to God. They have a thirst, they have a desire, they want to cleave. But what's that? Who's that all about? It's about themselves. Now, you can be righteous and even have that. But the complete righteous are not that way. The complete righteous is that they're not that they don't delight in God, but that's not what their interest is. Because delighting in God, I mentioned this before, if we're unrefined people, delight in materiality. More refined people in spirituality. But the common denominator between them is that it's all about me, so it's no difference. So for you, you like a good meal, and for you like a good song. For you like a good idea, and for you, you get off on learning Tanya. spiritual high for you. In the end, the bottom line is, it's all about me. So spiritual junkie, it's all about me. So when we speak about the complete righteous, it doesn't enter. Because when you transform the animal soul that is motivated all about me to godliness, it ascends, so then it'll reflect itself or it express itself in that it's not about me, it's about about God. It's about doing it for Him and doing it for His presence in this world. That whatever He needs to be accomplished, I'm the tool, I'm the one that can, help towards that end. So again, for the complete righteous, this is through and through their entire being. And this is something, not a challenge. But what we can take from this on a personal level is very much so. It's not about me, it's what I'm needed for. It's not what I need, it's what I'm needed for. And, and I devote myself to that. That is something we can all share in. That is something that can be all very real to every single one of us. And that, when you're really thirsty for something, so of course you want to get the first drink. Naturally. I mean, you can hold yourself back, but, in your heart you want. So you're spiritually thirsty for Tanya, for God, for a mitzvah, to do good. Which is, but it's not a derogatory thing, obviously. But here we're talking about the complete righteous, so, there's got to be something in us, for us, that we can appreciate and learn from. And that is that I'm devoted to the Indian, I'm devoted to the cause, I'm devoted to whatever God needs from me. That's the story. Got it. The only kind of questions I can entertain on Facebook, I'm seeing nothing. I don't even think this is going to be saved because it's still twirling here. But we could entertain questions from Instagram and from Clubhouse. So if anybody has something to share. Let me just see on Instagram. And Marcy, come and join us, please. One may say that they're a tzaddik, a righteous man, and has reached the highest level of spirituality. Yeah. Okay, Marcy, please share with us.
Thank you, Rabbi. This may be just a silly question, but I mean, isn't part of the work of everyone in the world to elevate the world and to find joy in it? I mean, my Maimonides says, sanctify yourself in what's permitted, and part of Shabbos is to enjoy not the whole atmosphere and to take nourishment from the world. And so I get a little confused, off guard by this idea that, a true tzaddik would not, desire chocolate. And I get the idea that it wouldn't be necessarily for chocolate's sake, but like, for instance, on Shabbos, to beautify the Shabbat, wouldn't it be a mitzvah to delight in the chocolate for Shabbat's sake? And so I guess I get a little muddled
Right.
around that.
I get you. I get it. That's why we're so distant from a tzaddik, by the way. That's why we're befuddled, is because we really are distant from it. but I think we can understand the concept that you're saying, like, so the mitzvah is to delight in Shabbos. So the beauty of Judaism is that, it's on all levels that you can observe. So for the child, it's going to be ice cream for dessert. For the learned person, it's going to be their learning and prayers that they're going to have greater delight. That will be the emphasis. Does that mean they don't delight in the ice cream? Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's not, where they're at. And, and maybe that's a higher level. So delighting in Shabbos is, yes, it's expressed, and and if you're doing it for the sake of the mitzvah, so you're not doing it for the sake of the pleasure of the food, you're doing it for the pleasure of the mitzvah. That's a different emphasis, right? That's a different emphasis. Now, does that mean COVID, you lost your taste buds, right? you lost your smell. So does that mean, like, you don't have any taste buds? Okay, whatever. I don't know if that's so much the issue. Like, did you really, when you had the dessert or you had the soup, that you, maybe, but not for this, for a higher sake, for a higher purpose. Maybe just to appreciate, so you could thank, thank the one who made it, as opposed to just be thankful that I got it. It's nuanced, and I think we have to appreciate that, on different levels, what that will mean to delight and have pleasure on Shabbos. The beauty of Judaism, it allows it to be on a very simple level of materiality. That's the beauty. That now does that mean that's leave it there? For sure not. Does it mean that that that's not so important to you, and that you're davening and you're learning and you're verbringen and your interaction with people, that's where you're delighting in on Shabbos? Oh, will you express it in food too? Yeah, you know why? Well, because you got to have lechem mishnah, and you have to have wine, and you have to have this and that. So you're doing it because that's what you got to do. But that's your pleasure is in a different place, and it's still Shabbos. That make a little more, bring a little more clarity.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. Thank you for bringing that up. I think that that's the and a very important point that comes across often. Like when you learn Chumash, you learn the 5 books of Moses, and on a very simple level, it's meant for a 5-year-old to appreciate. Well, Rashi is even meant for a 5-year-old to appreciate, right? That's who he wrote it for. The ultimate 5-year-old. I'm far from 5. But to understand on a simplistic level. Now, it doesn't remain there. That's Pshat. There's Remez, Drush, Soid, and Hasidus. So there's so many different layers to appreciate and understand. So likewise, when it comes to Shabbos or any mitzvah observance, would be the same. Very good. Anybody else to share, to ask?
I have a question, Rabbi.
Go ahead, Vilma. Oh, I see. Okay, just go ahead. I'm going to go to Instagram after that. Okay.
Okay, so in my mind is the distinction between the spiritual junkie and the other level, the tzaddik level, the level of self-sacrifice to fulfill, whatever's needed for God. Would that be a distinction?
Yeah, actually, let me bring with the question that Davida has on Instagram, and was Aaron's sons spiritual junkies or truly righteous? So they were righteous and yet spiritual junkies. Spiritual junkie doesn't mean you can't be righteous. You're not completely righteous. No, you're not. Because we just spoke about a complete righteous, but you can be an incomplete righteous person. So, as you say, Vilma, the fact that, think about it for a moment. Halavai, so be it that, the entire world would be spiritual junkies seeking to, that their pleasure in life is about doing good. Their pleasure in life is godliness and, thirst to connect to God, right? That their soul is so revealed that that's what motivates them, that they have this great desire to connect to God. Wow, can you imagine the whole world is that way? I mean, that's Mashiach. So when we speak about spiritual junkie, careful, I'm not talking about some idolatry over here of, I can tell you a story. When I was a yeshiva student, I learned in Miami Beach, at the Rabbi Label Shapiro, my Rosh Yeshiva. So, 1140 Alton Road, many years ago. So, the Gur Maharaj, he came to Miami, to the Jackie Gleason Convention Center. And we were yeshiva students. We decided we're going to go there because we knew it's going to be full of Jews. Full of Jews. It's the late 70s. And so it was when we went, full of Jews. When we spoke to them, tried to, bring them over to come to the yeshiva. We'll bring with them on Shabbos and, da-da-da-da. And, and somehow I got into the convention center dressed as a yeshiva student. And here's a big, huge screen that the image of the guru is up there, and it's like, and they're singing beautiful melody, very soulful, and actually in Hebrew words. And I got a sense, oh my gosh, what's this? That was spiritual junkies from the other side. I saw how that this could really grab a person. Really grab a person, and because it was just this spiritual delight. But that's spiritual junkie from Klipa, but there's spiritual junkie from Kedusha, from holiness. And so Aaron's sons were spiritual junkies who went into the Holy of Holies, seeking to cleave and become united in one with God. And without going into the entire details of the story, it's fascinating. They died there. So that's a spiritual junkie in Kedusha and holiness. So again, there's nothing wrong inherently with it. We're not talking that this is a bad thing. We're talking about that the complete righteous person, that's not them. And I just wanted to personalize that for us, because even though we're not righteous or completely righteous, there's something that we take out of this that we can adopt and use in our lives. It's not about me. It's what I'm needed for. What was I created for? When it's all about me, I mean, that's not Jewish. You might get that in therapy, and you might get that elsewhere, and so on. Fine. That's the human condition. That's very human. It's not godly, and it's not serving your purpose. It's not serving your... It might be self-serving. It may be very self-serving. But that's what we're here for. We're here to serve God, as it will be expressed in the mitzvahs that we need to do. to change this world through our relationships that we have and through, the engagements of day-to-day living. So, to take this idea out from here that whatever, when we engage in something and then we kind of able to at least focus and adopt the idea, even though, remember, the truly righteous, a complete righteous person, it's totally through and through in their heart. They're abhorrent at the idea of them doing something that would be just for self-gratification for themselves. It won't be abhorrent for me or you to do that, in the sense that, that they understand we're not them. And we're not meant to be. We're not meant to be righteous, but we're meant to learn something from this very important idea. All right. What a farbringen. Every day we get a farbringen. Amazing. All right. Anything else? I think that's it. Again, I want to thank everybody that participated in our charity event that we had finished last night. For those who donated, those who helped in any other way, spread the word around. Many of you did, and I truly appreciate it. It will help us to move forward and accomplish what we need to accomplish. Okay, we'll have Rambam today at 1 o'clock. I'll work on what's happening over here with the Facebook situation. We'll keep you posted. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Thank you. God bless. Be well. Okay, let's see what happens.